Wesley Chi, WChi1 at yahoo.com. Signature story, take 3. It was late in the year 2003. I had been out of work for nearly 2 long years, and when I was first laid off, it really didn't worry me much. Actually, I was pretty excited. I received a nice severance package, and I figured I can leverage my education and experience to a promotion at another firm with better pay and more responsibility. Well, it didn't work out quite like that. Well, I still drew unemployment, but it wasn't nearly enough to pay the bills. Uh, our savings had been depleted. We had to give back a car we had on lease. We were living on credit cards. Still, all my job seeking efforts remained focused in the quality and manufacturing arenas. I didn't admit it to my wife, but I was starting to lose hope. I felt like a failure. Now, it was early in the morning, the day after Thanksgiving. I have no idea where this came from. It wasn't even on my radar, not even a thought. But I woke up, I rolled over to my wife, I woke her up, and I said, "Honey, I'm going into real estate." She said, "Okay," and rolled back to sleep. Well, that was God moment number one. Now, if I was going to real estate, I figured I better figure out how to sell real estate. So I fired up the computer and I started researching real estate training. That's when I learned about Mike Ferry, the nation's #1 sales trainer. Now, the Mike Ferry sales material or training material is pretty pricey, and so luckily I was able to track down a Mike Ferry one-on-one client of his who was reasonably successful and was planning to take all the money he made in real estate and parlay it into a new venture. He said he felt fortunate that he had the success that he did, and he wanted to pay back. And on top of this, now in his library, he held all of the Mike Ferry training materials, all the books, all the tapes, all the past seminars and past retreats. And he sold them to me for pennies on the dollar. Yes, score! Now, I absolutely adore Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, by far my favorite holiday. You see, that's when I get together with my whole family. Our whole family gets together. All my aunts and uncles, my cousins, nephews, nieces. Oh, it's amazing. We have the most wonderful food. My Aunt Janny, she always brings in fresh crab from Fisherman's Wharf. Yeah, some of my fondest childhood memories come from Christmas Eve gatherings. There's nothing more important to me than family. That's probably why real estate is so important to me. Anyway, naturally, I was sharing my exciting news with my family. They weren't quite as excited as me, but certainly they were supportive. Mostly, I spent a lot of time with my cousin, sharing with my cousin Eddie, as he had just decided to open up a new mortgage brokerage. So we were kind of on the same page. Now, a couple weeks later, Mike Ferry was holding his annual one-on-one retreat in Palm Springs at the JW Marriott. That's where he gathers about 200 of his top performing clients together for intensive weekend training. Of course, I wasn't invited to attend, nor could I even afford the hotel, but it was only a 2-hour drive, and I found a cheap motel nearby for only $25 a night. So, armed only with a suit and the tapes from the previous year's one-on-one retreat, I headed out to Palm Springs. Now, while the 2004 seminar was going on inside the ballroom, I sat outside the ballroom listening to the 2003 one-on-one seminar. Then, when they went on break, I went to work. I went to the bathroom and I stood there washing my hands and washing my hands and washing my hands, and that's where I met James. James was a one-on-one client out of Chicago. We hit it off pretty well, and he invited me to dinner that evening. So later that evening, we met at Sullivan's Steakhouse, one of the finest restaurants in Palm Springs. There I met about 20 other one-on-one clients along with James, and we chatted some more, and he shared that he was closing about 100 transactions a year. Pretty good. He had flown in from Chicago and was planning to visit LA after the seminar. LA? I'm from LA. We should totally hook up. And that's exactly what we did. We hooked up at Joffrey's. It's a California fusion restaurant located on a bluff overlooking the Malibu coast. And while we were having lunch, he reached down to his briefcase and pulled out this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Now, it was written by the founder of Keller Williams Realty. And James was flipping through the back of the book where he's showing me these biographies of all these millionaire real estate agents. And he'd say, this one is a Mike Ferry, this one's not. This one's Mike Ferry, this one's not. And about half of the millionaire real estate agents featured there were trained one-on-one by Mike Ferry. I said, whoa, that's cool. I'll have to get that book on the way home. James replied, I'm sorry, Wesley, this book's not publicly available. You can't buy it at the local bookstore. I said, that's okay. I'm pretty resourceful. I'll find a way. Well, we left Joffrey's vowing that we'd keep in touch, and I drove home. About an hour later, I pulled up to my house, walked up to the front porch where I noticed a package on the floor. Picking it up, I noticed it was addressed to me, but I hadn't ordered anything, so curiosity got the best of me. Of course, I had to open it right away, so I took out a knife. I cut the tape securing the flaps together. I ripped open the flaps, and I was throwing out the styrofoam popcorn, packing popcorn, and I found a book. The Real Millionaire Real Estate Agent. What the? Well, as it turned out, my cousin Eddie, the one who was starting the mortgage brokerage, he had sent me the book as a gift. God moment number 3. Now, I don't know if you believe in God or not, but as for me, I knew I was in the right place at the right time.